Hey ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. As always, it is Nick here, back to your daily crypto news and analysis. And today we are going to be talking about Ripple and XRP, as was the vast majority of crypto and finance. And with that being said, I hope that you are all having a beautiful day or a beautiful night if you guys are out there in the world. One of the biggest talking subjects back in 2023 was Operation Chokepoint 2.0. For those that are not aware of what this was, well, it was basically a cutoff of crypto to get any funding outside of the industry. They were shutting down on and off ramps to and from crypto. They were shutting down crypto banks. I mean, this was a big problem. And recently, Caitlin Long from Custodia Bank brought it back up. We do see here, you may be paranoid, but that doesn't mean they're not out to get you. Court records show head of KC Fed sought to snuff Caitlin Long's crypto bank. Chokepoint 2.0 really is a thing. And yeah, I mean, this is a big development, but we already knew that this was real. I was talking about this heavily back in roughly March, April, May, even the summertime of 2023, because it was one of the biggest subjects, and it was something that was very, very important to watch. But now, as this is getting brought back up, let's go back in time a little bit. Because now that we got the Bitcoin ETFs, I think that we need to realize what really is happening. This got posted by the truth_XRP. The Fed is attacking crypto banks, Operation Chokepoint 2.0. And this is from Brian Brooks. For all those out there that know who Brian Brooks is, you know how significant this statement is by him. Listen closely to this video.
But I think it's pretty clear there has been a decision across the bank regulatory agencies in this administration that crypto is inherently risky and needs to be extricated from the banking system. My personal view is, if you treated crypto as a normal yet high risk legal activity, you would have crypto distributed across a large number of banks. No one bank would be the central failure node for the economy.
And you've run the OCC. Do you think that they actually have the mental capacity to do that?
I hate to burst your bubble, but yes, the way the bank regulators work is that they are highly coordinated. I mean, when I was running the OCC, I had a weekly call with the FDIC chairman and with the vice chairman of the Fed for bank supervision. We talked every week for an hour and talked about what our priorities were for the coming week, how we could support each other, how our actions would affect the system. So these things are not accidents at all. I'm highly confident of that.
So again, as we really look at this, they have been coming together to really attack crypto at all fronts. And Brian Brooks has experience in this space and outside of the space in these significant positions. And from his experience, he's even saying like this could happen. This could be something that has been happening for a while. And we already know that the regulators have been, coming together and getting paid off probably by the big banks or even working with the big banks to counteract the move that crypto has been making. And what is the move that crypto has been making? Well, it's more so the investors. As a retail investor, you are pulling money from the big banks and you are investing money into a decentralized ecosystem, essentially. They don't like that. The second that you start pulling money from the banks and it's going into crypto, that's when they start panicking. And I feel as though that really started to happen in 2022, into 2023, and even going all the way back to 2021 and the previous cycles as well. But now we need to focus more on this because the ETFs are the big focus right now, because from Operation Chokepoint 2.0 and from all of the effects of it, we got the ETFs. Now everyone thinks that the Bitcoin ETFs are great, they're incredible. We're going to talk about that here in a second. But first, I want to talk about this post by Will. This goes back to June. The effects of Operation Chokepoint 2.0. DEX volumes relative to centralized exchanges are at an all-time high. Tether at an all-time high, and USDC down 50%. Offshore volumes near all-time high at 86%. In the end, capital and activity will just move offshore and on-chain, ultimately giving the US government less oversight. But the big problem here is ETFs. If you guys have been following this news, there is a lot of big inflows into these ETFs. I think it was like almost $1 billion in just the first 3 days. If BlackRock's spot ETF application gets approved, it is undeniable that Operation Chokepoint 2.0 was orchestrated to drive out crypto native companies and bring in large traditional firms that are buddy-buddy with the US government to try and control Bitcoin and crypto. And guess what? That is exactly what happened. BlackRock, Fidelity, all of these big Wall Street players, they all can now essentially control Bitcoin and crypto. But this was always the focus point. Even Moon Lambo responding back to this, yup, and Johnny Deaton 1 has been warning of this for a very long time. Gensler is making room for legacy finance incumbents by destroying the innovators that have been in the space from the earliest days of crypto and blockchain. It's just like Ripple and XRP, right? If you go back in time and you really look at what was happening leading up to Ripple and XRP getting sued, you could easily see what was really going on. We both know, all of us, right, that Bitcoin and Ethereum are not viable utility tokens for scalable financial applications. What do I mean by that? Well, with XRP and with what Ripple built utilizing XRP, it is extremely disruptive to the traditional banks. In fact, it will eliminate traditional banks out of the cross-border payment market. They make a ton of money off of the cross-border payment market. They didn't like that. Guess who they turned to? Regulators. Go and sue them. And for well over 2+ years, Ripple was in that lawsuit, and we finally won it. But the question is this warpath ending? No, it doesn't seem to be ending. Coinbase is still in a lawsuit. We know Binance got targeted, and we're going to talk about that here in this video. It's very interesting in terms of Binance because I'm going to talk about it with JP Morgan actually. But first, here we have January 11th of this year. Meta Lawman. Finally, a message from Senator Warren, the commander-in-chief of the anti-crypto army. An important battle has been won, but the war is far from over. They haven't called off Operation Chokepoint 2.0 by any means. Stay frosty. Now, this is quoting that tweet from Elizabeth Warren where she said that the SEC Gov is wrong on the law and wrong on the policy with respect to the Bitcoin ETF decision. Now, the big thing here is this is all a front, in my opinion, by Elizabeth Warren just to kind of belittle the Bitcoin ETF. But remember what the Bitcoin ETF is. It's a key that unlocked the door for traditional financial giants that are Wall Street players that manipulate markets to jump into the space and control large portions of it. I mean, we witnessed almost $1 billion into the Bitcoin ETF in just 3 days. For those out there that are saying that's not much, it is a very significant move in just 3 days. Beyond this, though, we have from December 31st, this is Scott Melker, we do see banking regulators close Signature on a weekend. It did not collapse. They were not insolvent. This was a direct attack on crypto. Operation Chokepoint 2.0. Check this out.
This is where we all got our tin foil hats on because Signature Bank didn't technically collapse.
And by the way, we went over this a little bit during that time because one of the big things about Signature Bank and a lot of the volumes that were coming into Signature, that was a very significant closure. And I still question what really happened. Well, guess what? It didn't collapse. It was a close. They closed the bank. It was a direct attack. But listen.
The regulators closed it down on a weekend. There was no evidence that Signature Bank had actually had a sizable bank run. There was no evidence that anyone was unable to withdraw money that they wanted. There was legitimate fear that because it was similar to the Silvergate and Silicon Valley Bank, that it could collapse because a lot of crypto people were losing money, taking money out. I mean, it makes a lot of sense. Even if it's not a bank run, a hell of a lot of people were taking their money out of the bank at this time. But this closed down down the final rail, really, that crypto companies had for settling. All of a sudden, the entire crypto industry in the United States was unbanked just because these 3 banks went out of business. So think about that. There's thousands of banks. They all had the same treasury risk. They all had the same problems, but the only 3 that collapsed in March were the ones that were servicing the crypto industry.
And again, this is something to mention because these are 3 major banks that were the blood to the space. They were the liquidity giants that were, the ones servicing major companies in this space. And it's crazy that it's just 3 crypto focused banks that went belly up. Now, this is why when everyone's saying, oh, the tinfoil hats are out, everyone's a conspiracy theorist. No, we have been right since day one on this. Since going all the way back to December 2020, when everyone started calling out the SEC and what they were doing and what's really happening in the US. I specifically remember the XRP Ripple lawsuit getting dropped. Everyone turned on Ripple and XRP. They thought it was dead. It was done. Ethereum maxis, even, Vitalik turning on Ripple. But weeks and months after that, what unfolded was a much larger story. And we were 100% on what was happening. It was corruption, manipulation, attacking. I mean, this is the big problem right now. Jamie Dimon calls crypto a scam while using Avalanche to build the largest tokenization project in the world. Vanguard denies Bitcoin ETF to customers after buying a 10% stake in the 2 largest Bitcoin miners in the US. Don't watch what they say, watch what they do. And what's funny about this is go all the way back to December 13th. This was when Jamie Dimon originally went on his anti-Bitcoin campaign. While Jamie Dimon bashes Bitcoin, JP Morgan's crypto empire triples its headcount. This is comical. This is why, when we really look at what's going on here, it is so clear that they are trying to ruin the space, utilizing everything in their disposal, meaning regulators, whatever they can get their hands on. I mean, hell, even Elizabeth Warren. All of these big individuals that are talking about crypto in a negative way while infiltrating the space, they're trying to control it. They want Wall Street and the big banks to continue to succeed. They want them to continue to play the game of Monopoly that they play so well. But also outside of this, right? Just recently, on January 17th, Jamie Dimon on CNBC, which is a joke of a mainstream media channel. There are cryptocurrencies that do something that might have value, and then there's one that does nothing. Sorry, I call it a pet rock, the Bitcoin or something like that. It has some use cases. Everything else is people trading among themselves. The crazy thing about all of this, right, is JP Morgan is 100% in the pockets of regulators. I would be surprised if he wasn't. And the reason why we say this is because there is case after case after case against JP Morgan and the settlement amounts. Now, mind you, this is the largest bank out there. The settlement amounts for this are maybe like $1 through $20 million. There's some that are high tier, like almost $1 billion, but that's manipulating commodities markets and things like that are very substantial, by the way. But beyond this, right, here we have JP Morgan settles a case with the SEC by paying $18 million in fines. When Binance pays the fine, it is news, but when JP Morgan does, no one talks about it. This was January 16th. Guys, this is 2 days ago. $18 million. Now, Binance and CEO plead guilty to federal charges in $4 billion resolution. Guys, this is a $4 billion fine versus an $18 million fine. This is the largest bank out there versus the largest crypto exchange. Now, mind you, crypto is just under a $2 trillion market cap. We're talking about 4 billion versus 18 million for the largest bank out there. Can you tell me what's wrong with these two pictures here? I mean, it's not rocket science. JP Morgan is playing the regulators like he's the puppeteer. He's pulling the strings. This is a big problem. And again, they continue to manipulate this market just like they have manipulated gold and silver markets. I mean, it's comical at this point. It really is comical at this point. But this is why we look at Operation Chokepoint 2.0. We look at the Ripple and XRP case. We look at the case against the library. We look at the recent cases even against Coinbase. And we can easily see what is really going on here. And this is why the XRP community has been fighting back so heavily. But with that being said, I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys did, definitely leave a like, subscribe, turn notifications on. If you guys want more free content, you guys are more than welcome to follow me on Twitter and join the free Discord in the description below. Also, guys, NordVPN, 63% off right now. You guys can utilize my links down in the description below as well as in the comments below. Make sure that you are secured every step of the way. But with that being said, guys, thank you for watching. This has been Nick. Peace out.